Hey everybody, we are live on Live Lunch, episode 6 of season 2. We are facing a few technical snags. This is what happened when the wonderful Megan Lara May decides to leave us in favour of Glastonbury.
Oh, man.
So she is probably sounding incredible at Glastonbury, but
She took the sound with her.
She took the sound with her. She took the level of audio with her. The YouTube recording, we hope, should be fine because the desk will be recording audio. But we do apologise for any...
So why did you say no to Glastonbury?
Why did I say no?
You sent Megan.
Yeah, well, they wanted only English music, so
They just don't pay enough.
Rap
now,
in Punjabi,
yeah.
but they didn't really want that.
They didn't want to do. Okay, fair enough.
They said something about subtitles, and I was like, "But I'm speaking in English." so there we go. That put me off Glastonbury.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're on your way to Glastonbury, we hope you're tuning in and enjoying live lunch. Mm-hmm. Maybe Megan. Hi Megan, if you're on your way to live lunch to Glastonbury and you've tuned in,
say hi to the headliners for us, Megan.
Yeah,
back in the green room.
You knocked it out of the park, which I'm sure you're doing.
Who is headlining? I don't even know. Who's headlining Glastonbury? Someone put it in now. Come on, Insta, social answers, please.
Instagram it.
I'd like to find out.
Glastonbury. Have you been to Glastonbury?
My what?
Have you been to Glastonbury?
Not as a punter at the festival.
Been on the stage.
No. My neighbours Kate and I used to live next door to some friends who practically ran it.
Oh, wow.
And they would sort of be. June was just like their diary, but they just disappear. They would go get as the summer got going. Outside their house would be this big kind of VW camper that gradually got fuller and fuller, and like layers on top, and eventually they would drive off. To go, several weeks in advance, or at least it felt like it. It's probably about a week in advance to kind of set up and all the rest. Came back very happy, but never been.
And to compete with them, you decided to run New Day. So
I said to him, look,
you look really busy. Hey,
I'm sorry.
Let me match that.
But I'm headlining at my own event.
So the headliners this year are Stormzy, The Killers, and The Cure.
Oh wow!
Thank you to whoever sent that information out to us.
Thank you, Google.
Thank you, Google.
So the Cure are the kind of legacy kind of act. Yeah, interesting mixture there. Okay, cool,
brilliant.
What's your favourite Cure song, Yohaan?
So embarrassing, isn't it? When I say
it would be it would definitely age you if you knew instantly a favourite Cure song. You would feel you would be old. So it's probably just as well that you don't know.
Well, it's fascinating because I didn't grow up in this country, so the music that I listen to, the music that I grew up with. But I did grow up on 80s rock. Mm-hmm. That's the music that I listen to.
Still now?
Led Zeppelin. Oh, I do really enjoy listening to it.
70s rock, Led Zeppelin.
70s rock. 70s and 80s rock, Guns N' Roses.
Oh, wow.
Deep Purple.
My kids used to, on the way to school, demand that we put Paradise City on full volume on the way to school, which I was always very proud of them for, especially my oldest.
Yeah. Wow.
And, so he'd be turning up at his reception class, about 5 years old, with "Take me down to the," and really loud, the big bass and drums.
And your oldest son plays the guitar, so maybe he could knock up one of those Paradise City solos.
Yeah. Although he doesn't play like Slash yet.
Yeah.
He's more kind of, it's not really his thing. He's kind of more interested in John Mayer and Tom Misch and these kind of.
Slash and Axl Rose reunited a few years ago for another tour. I don't think
for a tour, not for a fist fight. For
a hair off. Who's got better hair?
For a game of tiddlywinks.
I did wear my hair down long for seasons, covered my eyes, walked around, bumped into a few cars. In India it's not a wise thing to walk around with your eyes covered, but I thought it'd be fun.
A friend of mine knew Axl before he was famous.
Really?
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, in California. Just saw him at a club, just kind of when he was just a guy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
It's one of my little tiny connections with. Anyway.
With fame.
Yeah.
Cool. Have you been to any big rock concerts?
Not Guns N' Roses, no. I had they were the kind of thing when a lot of my friends when I was at school were GNR fans, and I tended to. I wasn't such a big fan of that sort of stuff in those days, but yeah, they're good.
The closest I got to was Roger Waters' concert. I didn't get in. Just got to the gate, turned back.
Did you get a T-shirt?
I did actually.
Oh, well done.
I did.
There you go.
I did. The one where he looks like an artist's impression of Jesus. With long hair. And, yeah. So I did get the T-shirt. Didn't do the gig. We're enjoying sushi for lunch.
Yeah.
If you can hear us chewing.
Yeah.
Or you maybe can't hear us chewing because of the
Good for
audio
you.
situation. Anyway, back to the preach.
Yeah.
You were back at the pulpit this Sunday,
Yeah.
preaching on Matthew 8:14-22.
Yes.
Looking at, I love the title, Come and See, Come and Die.
Come and see. Come and
We
die.
all survived, so we can do live lunch. I was a bit concerned.
Yeah.
Could we carry on with live lunch next week
We
if
didn't
we're
have
all
any,
dead?
We weren't investigated by the authorities.
No.
No one came and said, I hear you advertised this, a public meeting in which you intend to slay all those who attend. No, we kept them alive. This time,
Yeah.
we said, come and see, come and die, but no, we'll
Next
let you
week.
live. We'll let you live.
Yeah. After the gift day.
That's right.
Do you want to sum up your preach?
Yeah.
I
guess
in a few seconds.
I guess the whole of Jesus' ministry has amongst its big emphases, big messages, you get this twinning together of two big messages that you would have thought don't really fit nicely together, but somehow they do. Come and see, which is a kind of a very positive, jubilant, inclusive invitation to joy and healing and life. Those early chapters of each of the Gospels, especially, you get this atmosphere of come and see. Literally, one or two cases, that's what people say to each other. Come and see, come and see. And you can imagine it being like that. Jesus mania going viral. People would have been excited just to come. It's so amazing and so positive and so wonderful and everything we've dreamed of, healing and life and hope and fun and unpredictability and everything that was good about Jesus' ministry, public ministry. But you can't avoid the fact that just as much in the Gospels you get this come and die message too. And the passage we looked at in Matthew chapter 8 gave an opportunity to see how the two themes actually not only are both in the Gospels, but they only fit because they fit together. They're interdependent. You can't really have the come and see without the come and die, and vice versa. They make sense. And Christians and churches in general quite easily can emphasize one over the other. You can have a come and see kind of church, a come and see expression of Christianity, or you can have a come and die church, come and die expression of Christianity. And both are getting something right. But actually the Christian message truly will kind of balance them. So we looked at how that's shown in the story we looked at in those verses.
The cost of following someone or something is something we do face all the time, don't we? I was talking to Adam James, who heads of communication. I was like, I follow Manchester United, and at the moment there is a considerable cost to it. Following them emotionally, you feel like you're dying every day when players want to leave, and players that are being signed are like exorbitant amounts of money and all of that. But there's also...
And a sense of that the glory days are in the past.
Oh,
Glory days have gone forever.
Don't say that.
Certainly, I would say that probably is how it feels for you, I imagine.
It does. And
let me empathise.
A few days ago, my membership pack arrived through the post, and I was like, this is great.
They have had their time.
Wow. Well,
I'm getting away. I'm doing quite
Who
well
knows?
here. He's not fighting back at all.
Who knows? Well, this thing, I can't fight back.
No.
Not today.
There's nothing to say.
It may not be even
the hope is all gone.
Yeah.
Hope is lost.
So anyway, there's a cost of following.
Is gone.
Yeah, well, hope deferred.
Makes the heart sick.
Yeah, but it's still deferred,
Sick.
right? So it could come back.
It could,
Who knows?
maybe.
Who knows? How's your Newcastle team doing?
I don't know where.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm Brightonian, born and bred. That's
I thought you supported Newcastle.
No. I have a brother who does. Even I lived in Newcastle for 4 merry years of my life.
All right.
And although I'm fond of them, but my younger brother, who's probably never stepped a foot in Newcastle, seems to think they're his team, which just shows how weird it is. But mind you, I've barely been to Liverpool.
I thought I knew everything about you, and
no, well, yeah,
I learned something new today.
Yeah, no, I don't support Newcastle.
But I guess there's also the cost of if you go to games, you give up on family time. If you pay for your club membership, there's sacrifice financially. I think at the moment we're looking at the ruling party the political party in this country, saying who are you going to choose, and there's going to be a cost with whichever choice you go for, and there seems to always be a cost with who we follow. And if that's just an earthly thingy, how much more incredible the I guess, the joy and the cost of following our Creator in heaven.
Yeah. I think it's a good way of putting it. We can't avoid a cost. I mean, even the expression "come and die" is it's like in all the great movies. You know, you're going to die anyway. You know, as at the William Wallace in you know, we'd rather not follow you. We'd rather live. And he says, yeah, I'm not going to do the accent, but the kind of, you know, yes, you will live, but for only for so long. You know, and when you're dying, you will maybe wish you had used the opportunity on this field to fight for your freedom. Something like that. He says it better. He says it in a Scottish accent that's quite persuasive for an Australian. And he makes the point quite well. And I think that you know, that's a well worth remembering. You know, the idea that you avoid risk and costs by avoiding Jesus is just in the end, in the sheer light of day, you realise that's false. That just isn't true.
What does it look like? So it's fascinating because with the whole come and see, there's excitement, there's euphoria, there's hope, there's the Jesus movement, and you can see that yes, this should all be incredible, and the message of hope that Christianity preaches is a message of hope. It's not a message of it's a message that gives you hope.
Yes,
but as you said, there's also the come and die aspect of the message. What does that look like for the Jesus follower?
What does the blend look like?
Yeah.
Well, I think the message, the story that we looked at kind of perhaps goes a long way to clarifying this. Because you see Jesus healing basically a whole town. That in itself is mind-blowing. And, you know, I you just think, what does that actually look like? You know, especially in the days when there's no health service, there's no other real care, there's no, the medical science is not as developed as ours. A lot of sickness that's very, very visible is healed in a locality. Mind-blowing. And so you're seeing something so rich and beautiful and joy and life-giving. But you see also that what it communicates is Jesus' authority. He has authority over sickness, and it's talking about sickness as an evil thing and linked with evil. So it talks about evil spirits, which is a concept we'll come to in a couple of weeks when we talk about the demonized men who he heals later on in the same chapter, chapter 9 maybe. But anyway, but that's a thing to get our heads around. He is the guy. Jesus is the one with authority over sickness, over death, over evil, and yet that same authority is what's on display in the way he calls people to total devotion and abandonment to him and trust in him. So when people come through the crowds to say, I want to follow you, his response is to say, well, you're going to have to follow me with trust. You're going to have to accept the challenges of that, because he wants to deal with, I suppose, the greater problem that we have. See, our problems on the surface are our sicknesses, those things where we feel the oppression of evil, we feel its damage in our lives. But Jesus is always like a heat-seeking missile, going for the place in our hearts where the evil is doing its most damage and often undetected. We're very alert to the power of sickness if we're particularly ill, but we might not be alert to the power of our distrust towards God and our willingness to have other things in place of God, to have other masters, other lords, other dominant forces in our lives. And Jesus has come not just to deal with the consequences of evil, not just to deal with the symptoms, not just to deal with the sickness and suffering and the evil oppression that we feel, but to deal with the root of it, which sometimes we don't feel. And the root of it has to do with our unwillingness to trust him, our insistence on ourselves as the Lord of our lives. And he says, no, you've got to trust me. You've got to. I want to come and set you free from the damage that's been done by your own you being the king of your life. I've come to bring the kingdom of God, not the kingdom of you. And all of us need to find God's grace to set us free from the kingdom of self to receive the kingdom of God.
So I guess my question again is so what does that look like? So I live in the middle of Brighton in the North Lane. I have a job which includes having lunch with you on a Tuesday. I go to church on a Sunday. I have built community. I really enjoy my life. I feel like this is great. I'm not, maybe I'm in this moment, I'm not experiencing.
And even though you support Man United,
well, other than that,
for whom there is
can
no
you imagine
hope.
if that was like the low point of my life, the football club that I supported?
Well, it would be for me.
Again, I've come from some village in India where
sympathise.
we struggle to get educated and drink water and clean toilets and all of that. I'm kidding. I grew up in
I feel it's like adding insult to injury that Man United have come. Anyway, carry on.
But
there is no
What was
hope.
the insulting? What was the adding? What was the injury?
Insult to injury.
Yeah. What was that? What were you going to say? That Man United
Supporting Man United.
Oh, okay.
But
I thought you had like a specific bit of news that you were going to say, "Ha,
no.
eat this, sit down."
I will eat this. But I'll let you carry on with the question.
So, what does that sacrificial life look like for me at the moment? Yeah. Well, okay. Let me ramble on a little bit more. In summary, middle class, middle of Brighton, good job, happy family, going to church on a Sunday.
Great boss,
nice community,
very good boss,
fantastic boss,
enlightened boss,
very
wise boss.
I thought you didn't like me singing your praises. You told me off for.
Yeah, no one said who your boss is. Yeah, but I need
Jesus
this.
leads.
Eternal boss, Son of Man. Boss.
Answer my question.
Yes.
What does that look like? What does the sacrificial life look like for me? What is the cost that I need to count? I feel like should I get more introspective? Is my life being difficult?
Irritating boss. Infuriating, frustrating boss.
So we were talking about my salary.
Yeah. It's what it looks like for you, Johan, is to. No, I won't be facetious. I think, well, yeah, it's probably a mistake to too quickly move to specific applications in some cases because it
You just pointing out my mistake on live television.
yeah,
Thanks, mate.
No, I think that the point is Jesus is saying, trust me. So he says to this man says to him, he pushes through the crowd, this scribe, who's probably a fairly educated, unusually, top end of the spectrum, influential guy, respectable, impressive. He would have cut a bit of a figure, and people would have said, he's got followers, he's got likes, he's
exactly like me.
Just like Johan.
I have over 2,000 followers on Instagram.
Excellent. So okay.
Shout out to the 2,000
Very
followers.
good. Okay. So this scribe comes along and says, me and my followers would like to follow you. And Jesus says, foxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. Now it's what he's saying is he's not quite saying, well, here's the rule book. Here is the handbook for the staff. Read this. Come back tomorrow if you feel you can sign your name to the contract. He's more saying, just get used to not knowing. I have no place to lay my head, because that could mean various things. It means he's not able to answer all his questions. Because actually sometimes Jesus had very good places to lay his head. Probably he had good friends who helped out, looked after him. It's not that Jesus slept under a bush every night. He probably did some nights, but some nights he was. The point is, he lived trusting his Father, and so he got used to, like Paul says in Philippians, whether in plenty or in need, I've learned the secret of being content in all things. And it's this point of, I've learned to trust. I've learned that he's got my back, and Jesus wants that from us. More than he wants impeccable behaviour. It's not that our behaviour won't change. Of course it will. And there will be ways in which we keep certain rules, if you like. But that's not the point. What's really wanted is trust. That's what he's always looking for, is a kind of a patient, confident, joy-filled, trusting God. Resting, if you like, in the promises that God makes. And being able to do that to the extent where you say, okay, I won't hang around for an inheritance. I'm supposed to bury my father and get all the money from the wake or the reading of the will. forget it. I'm going with you. That's huge. But you think, what a hero for being so sacrificial. And Jesus is saying, no, I don't even want you to go there. It's not about being a hero. It's about actually just being a son. I just know that my Father is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess so. I think there's also the sense. So. There's also the sense
I feel
like you aren't really answering mine because
swine.
you said
Yeah.
Or shrimp. Fish.
Avocado.
Avocado. It's being open to Jesus' leadership, isn't it? When he asks you to do something.
Yeah, totally.
When he says, tomorrow move to Amsterdam. Being like, you've asked me to.
And so who knows what that's going to be?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. I think it's that we need to just have that readiness. And so people, notice Jesus says, sell all you have and give to the poor and then follow me. And some through church history have said there's the requirement for everybody. But Jesus wasn't saying that to every Christian. He was saying it to a particular man for whom that was the big test.
Yeah.
The fact that he wasn't prepared to do that showed that he wasn't really trusting. The faith wasn't real. And for every Christian, it will be a different application. It probably will mean selling stuff and giving to the poor. God's always going to hammer us about our love for money. But for some people, that's not a problem at all. There are some people God will say, no, that's not your problem. You can have millions of pounds and there's no idolatry at all. You're not chained to it. It's not causing you to distrust me. I trust you with that money. But and that's one of the reasons we mustn't be too quick to print it down to a law. Because you can do a law that doesn't scratch everyone's issues.
I guess this is where church community is so important, because that's where you get to work out these decisions and these conversations. If you feel like, this is what I believe God's calling me towards, this is what I believe God's leading me towards, talk to other people around you and say, I submit this to you.
Yeah, it's good.
It's like gear change, but I think so key to the whole Bible is Jesus referring to himself as the Son of Man.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. In the book of Ezekiel, in his prophecy, his view of something divine, and he calls it the Son of Man. He uses that phrase, something that looked like the Son of Man. And
Daniel.
It was in Daniel, not in Ezekiel. Yes, you're right. It was in Daniel. And it almost feels like the Son of Man reference is the divine reference.
Yes.
The sons of God is us men and women. Anything you want to say about that?
Well, it's a big thing that's worth a lot of time, and I think the Bible Project guys on their podcast and YouTube channel did a whole series of messages or studies on this, which I think are outstanding and worth every minute. That there's several chunks of teaching on it which are superb. I really recommend the Bible Project. But I think that the way it pertains to this passage and this story and this theme, this is the first time Matthew has Jesus calling himself the Son of Man, and it carries on through all the Gospels. It's a big title he gave himself, and you think, why is it coming from? What's that name mean? And its roots are in the Old Testament, as so much in the New Testament is you don't really get it until you see it in the context of the whole Bible, but it's really a combination of something divine and human. And you mentioned Ezekiel by accident, but actually you're right. It's in Ezekiel too, because when the prophets like Ezekiel see images of God, in Ezekiel's case, he does see like a human figure as somehow behind the curtain as well. When he sees images of divinity, he sees there's something about this God that is plural, where there's a human image. And that when Daniel sees in Daniel chapter 7, this one like a son of man who's destined to rule over all nations and have all peoples come and worship him, he's seeing someone who's divine, who's worthy to sit on God's throne, and yet someone who's unmistakably human as well, someone who's in the way that Adam was meant to be, ruling over creation, ruling over his department with authority, even over the rebellious in his department. So this person combines the divine and the human. The reason I'm saying all this background is interesting because it's even interesting that Jesus says, I love this. He says, foxes have holes and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Jesus didn't just say this stuff. It wasn't just like poetry for the sake of it. It wasn't just like, well, how shall I say that I don't have somewhere to live? I'll talk about foxes. There's usually something more going on. And I think my gut is that what's going on, not everyone would necessarily agree, but my how I see it is that he's saying, that what we want to have is a security that we have in rebellion towards God. And in the images of the Son of Man, right back in Daniel and throughout the Bible, subtly, you get the difference between the human who's called by God to reign on God's behalf and the animals, the beasts, who are actually kind of like, they represent forces that are in rebellion towards God. Humanity at its worst, which becomes like a beast, like Nebuchadnezzar, the king in Daniel, who turns into, he becomes a bit, goes out of his mind, becomes like an animal. And that's an important idea. So when he says foxes have holes, I can't stop thinking about the only other place Jesus talks about foxes in the whole of the Gospels is he's talking about King Herod. There's that fox Herod. And foxes in the Bible are not like cunning, cute creatures like Robin Hood in Disney. They're parasites. They're nasty creatures that tear into things and nick things. And he's saying the world's way is to have security in rebellion against God and to hold on to our own dominion, hold on to our own authority and become actually more like animals. The Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. In the world's eyes, the Son of Man doesn't got much to show for his life. But the Son of Man also is the one who looks people in the eye and says, come to me, I'll give you rest. In my Father's house are many mansions. Abide with me, I'll abide in you. It's like, you can rest in me. You'll always find that I've got space for you. I can look after you. You can trust me. So he's saying, on the one hand, you might, if you follow me, I don't know I'm not telling you whether you're going to have a home tomorrow night, but I am telling you will have a home forever, and not just someday in the future, but from now on, you will always be able to find rest. And I think this is massive. I think God's trying to help us to be free from our panic and anxiety by giving us rest in Him. Does that make sense? So I think I don't know how I got onto that, but that's one of the rich things in the passage that I just thought, wow, this is a big thing. The Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head, and by following him, I'm either making a dumb mistake, or I'm actually coming to the one who's uniquely able. He's the good shepherd, and I shall not be in want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Yeah. He like Paul says in 2 Corinthians, we've become poor, but we make many rich. We have nothing, but we possess nothing, but we have everything. And Christian life is like that. It's often like that. We feel our need, but we also feel incredibly looked after.
Brilliant. So good.
We live in between. We trust God. We have gift days. We have things we serve other people. We look out for others. We love others when we're not looked after ourselves. Sometimes we think, who's looking after me? But the Christian is someone who can say, I never have to really be in fear because I know that He is looking after me.
There's that peace that transcends all understanding.
Exactly. It's exactly that point. Yeah.
Brilliant, mate. Thank you so much. I think that's all we have time for. Again, we do apologize for the audio issues, but the recording we hope should be fine. Thanks so much. See you next week.
See you soon.